motivation is not enough.
No,
like
it's
motivation
not.
is not enough.
You need a system and you need discipline.
So it's like I understand the mindset thing, but some people still have that mindset. But guess what? They got an accountability partner that takes care of all their shit. So it's just like
That's very true.
it's.
But I think it takes both, because I think over time, when you do have an accountability partner, something is going to click in your head and say, you know what, I'm no longer that person that does that, because you helped them shape a new identity.
I hope so.
So
You would hope, you would think so. I
Yeah.
just think some people still have that fear of not being on camera because they're being judged by people that don't know them, and they're afraid of that.
hello, you guys, and welcome back. My name is Jasmine,
My name is Matthew Bell.
and this is the 1% Better Everyday podcast. This is going to be a space for us to learn, win, connect, and really just get to learn from each other as entrepreneurs. For today, we wanted to go ahead and shout out at Phoenix Sanctuary. So at the beginning of every episode, we always go ahead and shout somebody out. But we're going to go ahead and shout her out because she left a comment on our last reel talking about how after your 9 to 5, like if you really want to do something, you're going to make the time for it. And so I am a little bit tired today because I feel like I just did so much work, but here we are because we need to record. And also because today's topic is actually really, really good. We wanted to talk about the mindset needed for content. And I know that can go so many directions, but something that I've been thinking about recently, because I even talked about it in my social media posts.
Cheers.
Oh, in my social media post. We're showing up. We're here. To getting better, 1% better. To getting better, 1% better. To getting better, 1% every
What did you mix in with those?
The kombucha and the Element Tea package. But anyways, you guys, what were we talking about? Oh, the mindset behind content.
Mindset behind content.
And something I've been thinking about.
What does that mean? First of all, before you get to that, what does that mean?
Are you a service-based entrepreneur that provides some kind of service, but you don't know how to create content in order to convert someone from following you into a paying client? I'm going to tell you exactly what to post in order to start generating more leads, attract high-paying clients, and get more DMs than you can possibly answer. I will help you how to find your niche, how to find your target audience, and craft offers that will attract top buyers every time you go to make a post. Text me content to 513-516-7332 to learn more on how you can get mentored by me for only $99 a month.
It means where is your mindset at before you're even going to post content?
Nice. Now, what were you thinking about?
What is the mindset that you carry into making content, into creating content, into showing up on camera? Which is something that we've talked about before, is how to gain confidence and all that. But I think before you ever touch a camera, there's a lot of mindset that comes into content. But something I was thinking about recently is how content is really just communication. And I think sometimes we really, really do overthink our content, and we forget that social media was made for communicating with people. Like I remember how I always used to tell you on Facebook, that's really how I would stay connected with most of my family in Mexico. So I think that we just have to remember that social media really was made for communication. And so carrying that into content, it's how do we make our content just easier by not overthinking, by just remembering the communication. And I think we've said this before, that we're having with everyday people or everyday clients that are asking us questions.
Real people.
Yeah. But again, that takes a mindset of you, one, remembering everything that you're speaking with on an everyday basis with your client. And then that also goes back to the mindset of being confident enough to present those ideas on camera.
Yes.
And that's what I mean with the mindset behind content. It's you could be talking to clients all day and they could be asking you great questions, and you could have used all that for content. But if your mindset isn't in the right or in the place of, well, let me turn this into content, and you're probably the person that's saying, oh, I can't show this because it's off limits, or I can't show this because I don't want to release private client information, then you're never going to post content because you're always going to be like in that fear or that, yeah, is that what you would call it? Like a fear mindset?
Yeah, I would call it a fear for sure. But I think with content, it goes beyond your mindset as well. But that's something that we can get into later.
Well, what do you mean by that?
Well, I don't want to spoil it. I feel like this is an ending topic
I mean, this is what the podcast is for. What do you mean by that?
Because what I've been noticing lately with conversations that I'm hearing about people and hearing from people is that they are too scared to show their face on camera. And again, that's a mindset thing. So in order to overcome that mindset, you really need somebody like an accountability partner to like push you.
Yes.
Because sometimes
For sure.
people don't
For
overcome
sure.
that fear unless they got somebody pushing them to do it. You won't do it by yourself. Most people that have the fear won't do it by themselves. Most people that are confident will rip by themselves. They don't need nobody. They don't need confidence. They don't need a mindset. We just fucking do it. But the people that can't do it, they need somebody to push them to do it.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an important part is you definitely need an accountability partner. And I think mindset really does take a huge part in that. But I think something that you touched on too was, I don't want to lose my train of thought, but you said something, what were you saying? You were saying, oh, why won't people show up on camera? Like, why won't they show their face? And I think it also goes back to, we said this on another episode too before, how sometimes I feel like you need to get bullied when you were younger. And in order for you to fully develop a mindset of like, I'm just going to be confident and I don't care what people say. And so I think there's two parts of that. It's like, I'm not saying you have to be bullied, but I think like it almost like shapes you because you grow this thick skin of like, well, who cares? At the end of the day, I'm just going to do me.
Some people do.
And so I say that because I feel like even when I'm thinking about myself, you know, when I was younger, I would get made fun of all the time just for different things. And I think that over time, that kind of just made me who I am because I was like, at the end of the day, everyone's always going to say something. And it's easy, and it's easier said than done. But I think when it goes back to content, we're always worrying about, well, what are people going to say? What are people going to, you know, think about this? Or people are going to laugh. And it's like, who cares? And I think that's hard. You know, sometimes that is hard, but it takes the mindset of you almost have to like tell yourself you only get one life. So you're either going to post the content or you're going to let that fear keep holding you back from not posting it.
Yeah, but how long is fear going to take place until actual action comes into place? Like
That's where you need the accountability partner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just basically motivation is not enough.
No,
like
it's
motivation
not.
is not enough.
You need a system and you need discipline.
It's not enough. So it's like I understand the mindset thing, but some people still have that mindset. But guess what? They got an accountability partner that takes care of all their shit. So it's just like
That's very true.
It's,
But I think it takes both because I think over time, when you do have an accountability partner, something is going to click in your head and say, you know what? I'm no longer that person that does that because you helped them shape a new identity.
I hope so.
So
You would hope, you would think so. I
Yeah.
just think some people still have that fear of not being on camera because they're being judged by people that don't know them, and they're afraid of that.
Matt, I need your help growing my social media audience.
All right, guys, if you need help growing your social media audience, make sure you text 602-390-7002. Once again, it's 602-390-7002. I had a occurrence of figuring out whether it's positive or negative to keep the positive or negative comments. And to me, how I've approached it, because this is the reason why people don't want to be online, is because they're afraid of what people are going to say about them. And how I've always approached it is they put enough energy into their time and day to leave a negative comment on the page,
Yeah.
which is awesome. I love that. I ignore them and I keep the negative comments there.
Yeah.
And I think if
And
you
I
didn't
understand it now.
wait, if you
Yeah.
didn't grow up with thick skin, stuff like that affects you and hurts you. So I'm piggybacking off of being bullied in school, right? You either grew thick skin or you became very, very, very not self-confident.
Yeah.
What is the opposite of that?
Insecure.
You became a very
Or
insecure
you
person.
stayed that way because
And
it
you
could develop
didn't
to other
grow
things.
out of
And
that.
and that's not saying that we know everything, because I think, like, you know, I've also been really emotional over the past years.
But
like,
I understand the basics.
I've also made my mistakes, and so we're not perfect. But I think that it goes back to
We know how to execute. That's the most important
yeah.
thing.
No, you said something, and I don't want to lose my train of thought, but I think it just goes back to, just having a system that helps us, because I think that now, I mean, we really hold each other accountable, but we also created a system to again, change our identity.
Yeah, I edit every single day. That's a mindset thing, but that's also an action thing. Like, I have the mindset that I have to do this I edit every day. I have a ticker on my planner that if I don't edit for that
Because
day,
it's a non-negotiable for you.
yeah, it's a non-negotiable for me. And I've been editing every day for almost 7 years. So, I mean, the compound effect is just given.
Yeah.
If you talk to a camera every single day, you ain't got to upload it, but if you upload it and work on it, you might get better. But if you don't and let it sit and you don't do nothing with it, you'll never get better with your self-confidence talking on camera.
Yeah.
And that's why most people don't put out content, is because they don't take the action to do it. You need the mindset, but it's like a two-parter,
Yeah.
honestly. Social media is a two-parter. It's the mindset and then it's the action.
You definitely need action or execution based skills, because I think, I mean, I don't even know, like, what is the root cause of that. Like, because I'm thinking even about myself, and for like a long time I was a procrastinator for not executing things. So I think sometimes it's like we make whatever we're gonna do like so much bigger in our head that prevents us from even doing anything, because we're so overwhelmed with like paralyzation, or like the fear of being paralyzed. So I'm just wondering, I'm like, how do we overcome that? Let us know in the comments. But I know for me, like, I'm just thinking, like, what helped me overcome that? And I think it was really just breaking things down into smaller goals. So like you said, for example, if something that you struggle with is maybe showing up on camera, then maybe you start with baby steps and you start practicing, and you start practicing in front of the mirror. You start taking like
Practice
selfie
with your own
videos,
camera, yeah.
And then you never post them, but at least you're practicing.
Yes,
And then
practice.
maybe the third day you're like, you know what, I'm gonna post a story, and just post it as stories. And then maybe on the fifth day, or maybe
even if a
or maybe
month.
maybe in a month, you're like,
Yeah.
you know what, I'm gonna be brave
I'm ready
enough
to
to now
post.
post it as a
Yeah.
reel. And so I think that sometimes you also have to post and just leave it. Just don't look at your phone and turn your phone off and forget about it, and don't be so concerned about the vanity metrics. Because I think also, like, people are scared of, oh, well, if I post and it's not going to get a lot of views, and then people are going to see me as a failure. Who cares if it doesn't get 5 views? I think that in a month, if you get 15 views and people discover you, that's a great goal. I think sometimes when it comes to social media too, like, we look at these numbers and we're like, oh, that's not a lot, that's not enough. But we don't realize that if 15 people were in a room with us right now, like, that's crazy.
Most people would be
overwhelmed
by that.
You just met 50 new people. That's
Yeah.
a lot of people.
Most people will be, if you get 10 likes, 10 to 15 likes, 20 likes, or 100 likes, or 100 views, and people are like, oh, that's not enough. I'm like, talk to that many people in person, you would be overwhelmed. Most people would be overwhelmed if they had that much attention in real life. And they don't realize it because we're so used to seeing, again, that goes back to mindset. We're so used to seeing these big, huge numbers, and we are so accustomed to seeing what little effect it does on us, because we're so used to seeing it. But again, if this was in person, you would be overwhelmed by it. I've seen people be overwhelmed by the smallest room and they couldn't do it. So just think about it, how much people you're actually talking to in person versus
Yeah, and I want to touch on that really quick because I think it's so important. Everybody's going to be different. And that's why I think on this podcast, that's why we always say it's simply about getting 1% better every day. Because I feel like we've said this so many times on this podcast, but I think so many people are like, it has to look like this by the next day. Or it has to be like, if I'm not there by a month, I failed. And it's like sometimes we get so concerned about the time aspect, or like, oh, it has to happen in this time, or if it doesn't happen like this, then I'm a failure. And we don't realize that consistency is so much more important than just showing up in vanity metrics, and that's why I said, like, we're not perfect, because obviously, we have the discipline now and we have the new identity to show up on camera. But maybe, remember, there were some weeks where you wouldn't even post every day. You would post 3 times a week. I would do the same. Sometimes I would skip like 2 days.
I don't post every day now.
Or sometimes, like, even when it comes to the gym, like sometimes you don't go to the gym every single day because sometimes you need those rest days, or for whatever reason, like maybe you just didn't go. The whole like point of this is that
document
like,
our journey.
Yeah, how can you document your journey and just simply get better? It doesn't mean that you're getting better overnight. It doesn't mean that you're getting better over a week. It doesn't mean that you're getting better over a month. And I think that's the hard part, is like when you're doing something and you're not seeing results right away, because we're so nowadays expected to instant gratification, when we want immediate like results. We want like immediate
popcorn.
What is like that dopamine
effect? That's exactly what it is.
Because me and my sister, when I went back home in Ohio, she was just reminding me of some things, and we were talking about that, and like how sometimes when you drink coffee, like that could be like a dopamine I think like trigger, because you get like this rush of energy. So it's like, again, I'm getting off topic, but the whole goal of this is like
mindset. Yeah,
just training your mindset to start doing the things that you said you wanted to get done. And let me go back to my thing. But I think it just honestly takes consistency and practicing like baby steps. If something, if you have a goal and you're like, that goal seems too big, well, how can you break it down into like 10 mini steps to get to that goal?
It's a lot. People have the mindset.
This is a really good one too. I think with content sometimes too, we need to stop trying to impress people and just be helpful. And I think I've realized this recently, where it's like, if you're constantly, because I've heard so many people when they're in business, they're constantly wanting to compete with other people. And that's just something that's been on my mind a lot recently. And I'm so glad that we touched on this topic, is that at some point you're going to get burned out if you're constantly competing. Like if you're constantly just doing things because you're like, oh, I want to win. Like, it's a good thing to win, but if you're only doing it because you want to compete, or you're only doing it because you're like, oh, I want to be better than them, or I want to be better than that, you're not competing against yourself. And so that's something that I've been thinking about recently, is that I think sometimes even when it comes to content, like a lot of businesses or a lot of people think like this, where they're like, oh, well, we just want to post content because we just want to look like we're the best, or we just want to look like this way, or we just want to look like we're better than them, which is a valid reason why you should post. But I think the goal, it goes back to those vanity metrics, right? Because that could be a vanity metric, meaning that you just want this post to do really, really well, so that way it can seem like you're better than your competitors. Although it can be a good post, the reason that you want to sound more helpful is because, again, that's not a long-term strategy. At some point, you're going to be running out of things to say that you're better at or than. And so I think that's another reason why we focus on content that's so educational. Because it's not always about, like, how do I say this? Like, it's not always about having, like, the best ideas. Sometimes it's just about simply being in front of your audience and providing them a solution, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes it can be damaging for us to be like, oh, we want to be the best, or we want to be the only company that does this. And it's like, let's be real, you're probably not the only company that's ever done this. Mm-hmm. You're probably not the only video production company that has ever done this. I'm not the only social media company that's ever done this. It's simply about being consistent and just helping people. And I think that that's where you start to separate yourself.
You start to separate yourself by being authentically you. Mm. So I am the only Cones Graphics.
Mic drop.
That's what makes me me. That's what separates me from all other businesses. I'm me. I'm building my own individual audience. I'm building my own individual relationships with people. I'm building my own list of people. So I can't really compete with other people because the relationships I have are not going to be the same relationships that everybody else is going to have.
Boom, you just said a mouthful. And I think like sometimes when it comes to social media, like we want to compete and we're like, oh, let's do this because another company is going to beat us to it and they're going to get their audience. Like something I've learned in 5 years of business now is that every single business has a different audience. Like you were even telling me, was it like a day ago? And you were like, well, why can't you work with that client? And it's so true. Like at the end of the day, not that you're stealing clients, but you have to realize that consumers are going to think however they want to think.
Facts.
Consumers are going to think for themselves.
Facts. At the
So
end
if
of the
they
day-
want to work with another social media manager, cool, go ahead. If they want to work with you, then great. But I think we have to realize that we can't force connection. Like people are naturally going to connect with you and that's naturally going to happen. And something
The
that you
authentic
said,
you.
yeah, and something that you said that was really important is that you have the patience to grow your own audience.
Yes.
So
If you have the patience.
Yeah. So many people come on social media and they're like, oh, well, we just want to show up in front of this audience. How can you even show up in front of that audience when you haven't even built your own?
Yeah.
And so I think that when it comes to social media, I'm on my soapbox now. Is that what it's called? But I think sometimes when it comes to social media, it just goes back to everybody wants things so fast. And
Yeah.
it takes years just to build an
It
audience.
takes years to grind.
I was watching this TikTok today and the girl was saying that the reason why a lot of businesses succeeded during the pandemic was because if you think about it, everybody was at home. Everybody was on their phone. Nobody had nothing to do. So obviously a lot of consumers or people are going to be online. And so that's why a lot of businesses were booming. Not that they're not booming now, but the people in that era that only showed up on social media with average posts and did really well, again, God bless you if you're doing well now, but they're probably not the ones that are doing well now if you're not providing that educational content
didn't stick it through.
correct and keeping your brand consistency, because all those people have disappeared.
Yep.
Like they're not on social media anymore. They're out in real life experiencing life. And so that kind of just opened my mind how messaging and just like you said, being you is such a strategy
Authentically you.
that you have to like just keep being consistent and like,
Keep
how do I
showing
say
up
it?
as
Like
you.
keep being you. Yeah.
Keep showing up as you, as authentic as possible.
Yeah.
Because we getting all these free faces like to show up on our page. It's for free.
Yeah.
You just show people who you are. They either gonna connect with you or they not. They gonna like you or they not gonna like you. Like as simple as that. Keep showing up. That's all I can say. Is just keep showing up.
Yeah. And mindset takes a lot of work, you know. I think even as a human being, think about how much mindset work goes into trying to even attend the gym, trying to go to church, trying to get into a new relationship. So I think anything takes mindset work. I think it's like how willing are you, like you said, how willing are you willing to do the mindset work so you can execute? And it goes back to like even school and homework. It's like, are you willing to do the homework? Are you willing to do the work in order to show up? And so that's something that I've been thinking about recently a lot. It's like, what separates people? You know, because I'm someone that always wants to think about how people were raised and their stories and what makes us all different, because I love learning about people's psychology and stories. And something I've just been thinking about is you're going to get to a point where, I think we've said it before, where it's like your life starts to become a choice. Like where you're at and just your life is a choice because of the habits that you're making. So at some point you're going to have to realize it's either like you're going to change something so that way you can show up, or you're going to keep staying in that same place, if that makes sense.
1000%.
And I think we already talked about the last one, but it's really just documenting instead of creating new ideas. You know, because I think a lot of people too want to come up with this content, and it's like, stop trying to come up with content ideas, just document, just record.
Well,
What? I want to hear your thoughts.
I think you should record, but be intentional. Very intentional. Because the problem is, if you're not intentional, then you're rushing ideas. And also, your ideas are not thought out fully when you filming with a purpose. Because you don't want to just be creating shit just to be creating shit. That makes no sense. Like
That's true.
That's not purposeful.
That's true.
And that was the argument I had with a potential client. I actually am going to follow up with them to see how their content is doing. But they wanted to make unintentional, accidental content. Cool, just record everything. And I'm like, nah, I wouldn't suggest doing that. My plan was to be very intentional so they can be consistent. If you're not intentional, you're not going to be consistent.
Yeah.
You're just filming shit just to film shit on the fly, and then you're like, oh yeah, let's put that out tomorrow. And I'm like, wait, time out. Like, bring it back. Like, it's got to be purposeful and intentional, and it has to make sense. Because at the end of the day, you still want to talk to your target audience. Yeah. Like, you can just be filming shit and documenting shit and get all these views, but ain't nobody fucking buying from you. I want to talk to the people that's going to spend money on me, not the people that's there for entertainment.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's also just being patient enough. We kind of already said this, but it's just being patient enough to realize that results are not going to come overnight. Going back to like the earlier thought that I had, it's like what really separates people, what makes people the black sheep in their family, what makes people the person willing to do the work to succeed, and it's really just doing something different. You know, if you want different results, you're going to have to do something different.
Facts.
And yeah, everything really starts with your mind. I think that whatever you tell yourself and the thoughts that you feed yourself are what creates your life. And obviously we're not perfect, but I think that we've gone into a good point where we can say, like, we can back up what we know.
Oh, 1,000%.
Yeah, because we've just changed so much about the way we think, our habits, and, you know, like I said, it doesn't happen overnight, but it happens by getting 1% better every day. And every day just committing to, like, what's one little thing that I can change? What's one little thing that I can do? Or what's one little thing that I can tweak? And even if you're not ready to, I know we're going to end this podcast now, but even if you're not ready to record, I'm just thinking about, like, what you can tell yourself. And something that I even did to start working with my mindset and developing, like, a more confident mindset in how I viewed myself was reading books. It was really reading books, journaling, and getting to know yourself.
Speaking of, I was going to ask you, what are the top 3 tips to get your mindset ready for filming content? And then we'll end it with that.
Okay. I would say writing down 3 things that are really important to you. Don't think about it. Don't even think that those are going to be the 3 topics that you're making content around.
I like that.
Like, don't even think about content. Just write down what are 3 things that are important and heavy to your heart. Number 2 is journal. Journal anything. Journal who do you want to be in 5 years. Journal something about a prompt in your day. Journal just a reflection, because I think reflections really help you, like, put your thoughts to paper and really help you understand where you want to be. And I think reading for me has just been such a game changer in terms of just reading, because I'm a Latina, just different perspectives around how people grow up Latina and how you can change your legacy, which goes back to your identity. So reading books around, like, whatever relates to you, that's going to help you with your identity. What about you?
I don't want to drop any. I think we should end it on yours.
Really?
Yep, that was good.
But you got to do yours.
No, I'm good.
Just 3 small ones. One small one.
I don't want to follow up with you.
One.
I don't want to follow up.
What's one?
One tip?
Yeah.
What did I say?
And then
one tip that can help you with your mindset?
Yeah.
Oh, affirmations. Top. That's the best.
What are affirmations?
Affirmations are, well, I do affirmations daily, multiple times in a day. Honestly, from a clear, just straightforward answer, what it is talking to yourself. Positively talking to yourself. That's it. Say one positive thing about yourself for the day, and then you'll be good every single day. Say it loud, say it proud.
I like that.
One positive thing every single day.
And that is it. We will see you guys in the next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And again, we all get better by simply getting 1% better every day. Bye, you guys.